So a familiar passage that we hear on this fifth Sunday of Easter. And we've just sung the words of the passage as well. So there's a question for all of us. How do people know that we are Jesus' disciples? And I wonder how you might answer that question. Perhaps by saying you pray regularly for yourself, for others, and for our world. That you read your Bible regularly and follow what it says in your lives. That you come to church regularly and others recognize you for that. All of those are good and valid reasons. But Jesus says, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. The passage from John 13 comes immediately after the Last Supper when Judas, so that was the he in the very first verse, had gone off to betray Jesus. And Jesus knew what was going to be happening. Hence the words in verse 33, I'll be with you only a little longer. The commandment that Jesus speaks of is not part of the 10 Commandments that we read in the Old Testament, but a new one, along with a new covenant made between Jesus and his followers that has love at the very center of everything. And what does that love look like? Well, amongst other things, the relationships we have, the welcome and hospitality shown, the way we care, not just for people in this church community, but in the community of Wendover that we strive to be at the heart of. This time last year, we were working on our new vision, which ended up looking like this. And if you've never seen a hard copy of it, it's like this, and they're coloured on the back, and there's plenty of them over at the side there, and plenty more in my studies. So please make sure that if you've never seen one, that you do take one. And what I want to do now is to spend a few moments reminding you of the areas of that vision and all that we've achieved together in the last 12 months. The first is children, young people, and families. We had our Christmas event where on Christmas Eve, and lots of families came along and celebrated Christmas with us. We've had our children from John Hampton. They came, those of you that come at 10 o'clock, remember when they came after our service and sang fabulously for us. And then Wendover Junior School there for their carol service. And we have a really growing connection with the school and when they're able to come and be with us. And Nadine and Jack and Matthew and Remco and I all go in very regularly. We've started our Connect, Create and Celebrate service. That started in October, held once a month. And pictures there of the children with the handbells and the Christingle that was held as part of CCC, as we call this service. And it has grown really well. I think I've managed to miss off one picture that I'd done that was about sparklers. Monday mornings, I know lots of you come and volunteer. If you've never walked in on a Monday morning, be really surprised by the number of little people and their parents or carers who are here, the volunteers who are making teas and coffees. And coming out of Sparklers and CCT, this afternoon service has got a baptism. 2 little boys who've been coming along to those are being baptized. So that's wonderful to be able to make that connection into all that's happening. And then that was the picture you sent me, Jack. You can send me another one if you want. So you know that having developed our vision, we really felt that it was right to appoint the name became Pioneer children and family minister. And we had a lot of help from the diocese, putting together a job description. And in the end, we appointed Jack, who he and Serco obviously had already joined us. And I do have to say, Jack, when you first appeared in October, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And when that application form dropped into Nadine's box and she passed it on to me, I went, now we know why Jack's come. So it's been a perfect appointment. And we're looking forward to lots and lots of things. I've come back to emails from Jack about all sorts of ideas that he's got. I know he's been meeting with many of you, and we're thrilled to have you, and helps us to really work on that area of our vision. The thank you there is a huge thank you for the money that's been pledged and donated by many of you sitting here and others in church. I think when we got the 60, whatever it was, from the diocese, and we knew we needed to match that, we had conversations, and I think, I'm looking at Ian, we sort of thought, perhaps we'll get 10,000 from the congregation. When it went up so quickly to over 40, we're totally gobsmacked. And I know that people in the children department at the diocese, we're a story. They know about St Mary's Wendover from the pledges that you've been able to make. So thank you. And as I say, we know that there's great things to come from all of that. Move on to our engagement within our church community. A couple of pictures there of Anne Berry celebrating her 100th birthday in May last year, which means she's going to be 101 very, very soon. And then a picture there of Roseanne with Steve Louis, but also with Stephen Mulcahy behind. And for many, many years, Roseanne's chaired the Friends of St Mary's. The Friends, who are people both, again, sitting here, and people part of our local community who give money on an annual basis that is then available to us to pay for some of the fabric work. So there are damp bits up down there and up there. Although has some work been done? I can't quite tell. Anyhow, bits of fabric that they painted for the stonework that needed replacing. They've been able to pay for that. So, and Roseanne has led that for many, many years. We had our confirmation in January when Sasha and Carol were confirmed by Bishop David Jennings, and that was wonderful. And then I put a picture there of actually Easter Day, when you remember the altar was still in the middle, and the numbers of people that were here, and it was joyful chaos, I think is the right word to say about that service. It was wonderful. It's just showing what we're doing as we journey on. And then Christmas morning, again, you were here, you remember the snowflakes. And just, I put those pictures again there. You can see how many people were here and the joy on people's faces of really enjoying all of that Nadine led us in. Wanted to remind you of the sermon series that we do. So in the middle, you'll see that was last summer, where we had sermons about different psalms. And through Lent, we've had our Discovering Life's Purpose. And then we've got the Tea and Tessé. Again, just examples of what's going on. And if you can imagine the work that's needed to prepare for each of those. I keep saying we are so, so lucky here at St Mary's for the group of people who are able to preach and to bring us God's word in so many different ways and styles, because we all are very different. So again, a huge thank you to those who do that. We had on our part of our vision was continuing our eco-church work. I put a couple of pictures there of the churchyard, and if you have a walk around now, it's just looking amazing. A lot of work's gone in to bring make things better than last summer. And if you saw how it was last summer, we've worked so hard. At the back, when you're having coffee, there are all the pictures that the Eco Church group have done, us having gained our silver award and gradually worked towards gold. And one of the things are the eco tips that you'll see every week in the update and on the slides. And then engagement within our local community. We had the hustings here last June for the general election. And again, lots of people came along. It was great to have the facility here that people could come and, we be part of what's going on in the community. I guess some of you were here last night. I know some people were here singing last night and some people listening to the Wendover Choral Society who have their regular concerts. The picture on the right-hand side is the Christmas one. And the other one is the Wendover Singers. Again, people here are part of that, and that was their Christmas concert. And last December, emails were coming in, please can we book for next year? Please can we get booked? The jostling of getting the right Saturdays, for everything to be able to going on, which is brilliant. That, this is the place, the fantastic acoustics are meaning that people want to come and use us. I haven't got a picture of the tea dancers, but another regular event that happens here in church. Last summer we had the treasure hunt, and though I wondered how many people would come, I think there were over 70 people that joined in that. It was a gorgeous day and we enjoyed tea afterwards. We had the barn dance in, I think, October. There was the Family Fun Day in September, and that coincided with one of the monthly walks. So you know that each month walks take place, and so people were here enjoying fishing and games and everything. The walkers arrived back, and a barbecue happened as well. So it's just great that we can reach out to so many people. And our quiz night. Sorry, Paul and Catherine, but that was the picture I had of building the bridges. It was and then one of the things I haven't put on is we had the wedding fair last October when all sorts of vendors came in and set up and people came to find out about weddings. And one of the people that came in was Matt, who's the manager of the Red Lion. And he came and he went, we know that in other places, churches go into the pubs to sing carols. Will you do that in the Red Lion? So there we are on the 23rd of December, singing things. And raised, I don't know, about £80. I haven't got a picture of Edward who walked around with the, what was it on it? Yes, it was a champagne bucket to encourage people to give, so only in Wendover. And a reminder that we have St Michael's and the All Angels Halton as part of the benefice. And in November last year, I went and led the Remembrance Sunday service there, where representatives come down from RAF Halton and other representatives from the community. And of course, we do the same on Manor Waste, and we're regularly engaging with Wendover Parish Council. On our pastoral ministry, there aren't pictures for this because what goes on is rarely anything that you would go and take a photograph of. But it's great that we've got new life groups, and thank you to Tim for taking the lead on that, where people are coming together and being able to support one another. We continue to conduct funerals, weddings and baptisms. Funerals very regularly, and the follow-up that happens with that. We're going to have 4 weddings this year, which is good, and of course baptisms happen as well. We're very grateful that there's the weekly prayer group that comes and meets on a Friday morning and is praying for all that's happening in our parishes. And many of you are already involved caring for others, as your clergy are too. So we may not have anything that's terribly formal, but pastoral work care is very much at the heart of all we do. I put a couple of other pictures there. One of when I was installed as an honorary canon at Christ Church Cathedral. And then one of our new bishop, Dave. This was actually at Canterbury when he'd been consecrated. And Dave is really hit the ground running, got all sorts of ideas as our area develops, and is a really good thing. Bit of sad news is that last week it was announced that Archdeacon Guy is retiring at the end of September, so we will be sorry to lose him, but they've already got the advert out for the new one, so somebody else will be appointed to fulfil that role. So once again, a huge amount to celebrate that's happened in the church. I know there's lots of things that I haven't included in there, but so much is happening. I also acknowledge that the things that just haven't happened. One of the things that we had on our thing was to establish a weekly cafe here in church, and we will do that. We'll get there eventually. I've realised that if I go back to the our church community one, sorry, I put ideas down and I've scrolled straight on past them. But we had Matthew's Mission and Ministry project about sharing faith, and ideas have come from that. We have our Thursday morning service, and we really celebrate that because quite regularly the numbers are over 30. And if you would to look in our register and see the 9 o'clock service on a Sunday, the numbers of that are about 45. So, it's become a whole new congregation that I know those who come really benefit from, and the tea and the coffee and the chats afterwards. So lots, as I say, lots there. I hope you acknowledge the love of God in this place as we all seek to live out our lives, loving God with all our heart, soul and mind, and loving our neighbours as ourselves. As we look forward, there is so much else that we can be doing, and things that we identified and will be working on. We're hoping to have teas again in the summer, to be making greater use of our churchyard, and to have perhaps more opportunities for people to gather and to share their faith as well. But we live in a world that's facing so much turmoil politically and environmentally. There's so much suffering in our world that we're oblivious to and often sweep aside. And a couple of quick holiday snaps. Paul and I got back from South Africa on Friday morning, and they are all my photographs of what we saw. Just incredible beauty. God's creation in all the big animals that we saw and how they all live together. But we also saw this, the townships just outside, literally on the edge of Cape Town, that go on for miles of where people are living in such poverty. We were able to benefit from being able to stay in nice hotels and enjoy the wine and good meals, but this is how people live as well. And as we drove into one of the lodges, we drove past a whole village where the people are building their houses just brick by brick, and people walking along the side of the road with barrels of wood and water and things like that. So, that really brought it home to us. And we need to remember that what we've got, not everybody has. There are people who are seeking answers and a way of life that give comfort and a sense of harmony. Is our church that place? We wish to welcome everyone and share hospitality with them, just as Jesus did in his time. And that promise is for everyone, as Peter discovered in our reading from Acts. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. This is more than a suggestion. It's a mark of true discipleship. in today's world where division and self-interest can so easily take hold. Jesus' call to love is both a challenge and a gift. Each act of kindness, forgiveness, or compassion becomes a way that we can reveal God's glory. As followers of Christ here in Wendover, we carry that responsibility and that joy, and that's our journey onward through 2025 and beyond. Amen. I do hope as many of you can stay for our APCM meeting. We're going to be electing 2 church wardens and 4 new members of the PCC. We'll hear from Richard about where our finances are up to and a little bit more of thank you. So please do stay. There'll be coffee immediately afterwards and then we'll get started, I hope, by 11:30. And if you're not out of here by 12 o'clock, you can shout at me, but it shouldn't take that long. A few things. The big thing is to remind you all and hope that you're telling other people about the Wendover Arts Festival, which starts with a preview on Friday night and then is open Saturday, Sunday and Monday. A huge amount of work going on in the background, gathering everything together, getting rotas sorted. One of them is for the Waffles Cafe. Bridget, Helen Williams and Sally O'Halloran are masterminding that. And there are lots of slots still available and lots needed of cake baking. So please, a few weeks back, probably 2 and a bit weeks ago, there was an update, an email came out with links to the rotas. Go back and find it, and if there's a slot that you can do, or you know that you can bake a cake, please can you put your name down? Because we're all great at doing it, but if we don't know that things are coming, then there can be a bit of a panic, or there can be a bit of an overload. So please go and see if you can sign up. Be around, do come. The church is going to be packed to the gills. I'm looking at Deborah, of all sorts of amazing stuff. We've been to the Mint Wall one before and know the standard of the stuff is amazing. So please come. And a reminder, this is a big fundraiser for us. So we mustn't just sit back and let the people who've been working just get on with it. We need to all come and get involved next weekend so that people can see who we are and be knowing where the money that they're giving is going to. So a big plea for that. Friday was Julie's last working day as our administrator. She's now literally going to get on a plane for a holiday, and when she comes back, she's not coming back to work for us. So in the meantime, Zoe Fife has offered to do some interim work. Zoe does the accounts for Just, and we know her. But her pattern of working, I haven't the chance to find out what that's going to be. It's certainly not going to be as much as Julie was doing. So if you need something pretty urgently, email me, email Nadine, email Pete, or give us a ring. Emails that were to the Julie Hadley address will still be there, and Zoe will respond as and when she can. But please, we just bear with us as we work out what we need to do to make the right replacement. So that's so you know what is going on. There is Connect, Create and Celebrate this afternoon, and as I said, it's wonderful that 2 little boys are being baptised at that. And then next Sunday, we've got another 10 o'clock service, but it's going to be a SED service. We will be surrounded by all the art, but all our musicians are going on their holidays or going off. So we're not going to have any singing next week. It will be a SED service, it'll be the same words, we just won't have the music in it at all. So please do still come for that service next week. Thank you.